This Injury Prevention, Rehabilitation and Compensation Amendment Bill, and what a mouthful that is. Mr. Chair, I must congratulate the excellent Minister, the Honourable Nick Smith, for indeed coming to the conclusion that it was appropriate we call this the Compensation Act. And I would absolutely guarantee that if any Labor member went out onto Lambton Quay and asked anyone what the IPCR Act is, they wouldn't know it to fall over. They wouldn't know it to fall over. Now, we've just heard a very, very shrill series of verbiage from Marion Street going on about injury prevention. Injury prevention. Well, look, I just want to tell the Honourable Marion Street that it is worthwhile her actually looking at the annual report 2009 of the ACC, where it says, despite all the money that Labor put into it, all the money that Marion Street lost, the rate of serious non-fatal injuries among all populations is showing an increase up from 211,205 to 218,207. There has been an increase in rates across the road, work and falls areas. Assault and intentional self-harm are also showing an increase, but this could be a result of reporting behaviour. And finally, the frequency of hospitalisation from serious non-fatal injuries has increased since 2004. So that is the legacy of the Labor Party's contribution to the accident compensation scheme over the last need. And they say, oh, they're sorry about it. But it is deadly serious because they are simply off the planet. And the Honourable Nick Smith has explained why. Because there indeed was a minister who in the report, the last report, again, of the ACC, reported a loss of $4.8 billion, and the one prior to that, $2.2 billion. That makes that minister responsible for a debt for every man, woman and child in New Zealand of $1,800. That is a significant amount. That is a significant amount. And she shakes her head, but she will not take responsibility for that very fact. Now, we also heard her talking about the various Woodhouse principles. And she went on about community responsibility. And she said, look, if we all pay a little, we all get a lot. And she went on and said something to effect, the motorcyclist who comes off his bike, no matter how he's driven his bike, whatever it is, he should still receive and pay the same. This is quite extraordinary left-wing socialist cant. She has totally forgotten the idea of both individual responsibility and the basic concept of incentive for better behaviour. And this is shown so demonstratively well in the affiliated providers scheme. And you might just listen to this. In the affiliated providers scheme, which has an excellent record of low premiums, of excellent rehabilitation, getting back into the workforce much faster than anywhere else, and huge interests by industry to actually apply injury prevention. She forgets those basic principles are human instincts that must be followed. But I'd like Mr. Chairman next to go to the speech of David Parker, the Honourable David Parker, because he was the one that was saying just how low the levies are here in New Zealand when one looks at the benchmarking program that is taken throughout Australasia. I think once again we see misleading comments coming from the Labor Party because, Mr. Chair,
Lynn Pillay.